everyone once again. This is Shahryar Ali Khan, and I welcome you all to CEPI, the apex one-stop solution for all of Pakistan's competitive examinations. आप लोगों में से बहुत सारे लोग जो कि मेनली CSS एस्पिरेंट्स होंगे, या फिर वो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स होंगे, या फिर वो कॉर्पोरेट या प्राइवेट सेक्टर में ऑफिस गोइंग लोग होंगे, या फिर वो स्टूडेंट्स होंगे who have just graduated from the foreign universities or local universities. They might think of the fact that is it really worth opting for the civil service of Pakistan? And if yes, what is the post CSS life like? क्या होता है CSS देने के बाद और किस तरह से एक CSS एस्पिरेंट जो कि एक CSS एग्जाम में अपेयर होता है उसकी लाइफ किस तरह से चेंज होती है और किस तरह से इवॉल्व होती है ओवर टाइम आफ्टर क्लियरिंग द CSS एग्जाम. टू आंसर दीज वेरी पर्टिनेंट क्वेश्चंस आज के हमारे गेस्ट हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं जो कि एक करियर डिप्लोमेट है और उनका करियर जो है वो ओवर 10 years से ज़्यादा स्पैन किया हुआ है and he is serving currently at Turkey. His name is Sir Husham Ahmed. Sir Husham का आप लोगों के साथ थोड़ा सा brief introduction करता जाऊं before formally starting the session. Sir Husham, I'm sorry, is currently serving in Turkey, as I've said before, where he is the Director for Arms Control and Disarmament in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Secondly, before this, he was the first secretary to the Permanent Mission of Pakistan in Vienna, Austria, from June 2015 to July 2018. Moreover, he has previously served as the Assistant Chief of Protocol, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Islamabad, from 2014 to 2015. Other than that, he has also been the Assistant Director on the United States desk for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Islamabad, from 2012 to 2013. ये इनकी कुछ brief highlights हैं. I'm afraid I cannot expand his highlights more due to our time limitation. But I now welcome you to this very special session, sir, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, sir. सर बात करेंगे थोड़े से बेसिक सवालों जवाब से और फिर उसको कॉन्वर्सेशन को आगे लेके चलेंगे. सबसे पहले सर बात करूंगा कि you yourself have been a CSS candidate. तो क्या कैसी फीलिंग आई थी सर initially when you were a CSS candidate and you eventually cleared the CSS exam? How was your overall CSS journey for you personally?
I appeared in CSS exams back in 2009, and before that, I had just completed my bachelor's in electrical engineering from NUST, and like many other students, everybody was going after private sector engineering related jobs. I was also looking for a while, but somehow I always had this feeling that there was something out there in the world much more than engineering, and I really wanted to explore that. So engineering khatam ki, uske baad और engineering में भी of course in Pakistan, at least back in those time, career counseling इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं available थी. ज़्यादातर the tradition was that if you are a good student, you could apply, you could opt for medicine, you could go for engineering universities, and that was pretty much it. There was no encouragement for social sciences, no other alternative careers that you could have been encouraged to pursue. So that was the line that you were always told back then. So after having gone through the motion, after having completed my engineering, I thought that maybe there's time to explore something else as well. So I sat down with a friend of mine. We decided, both of us having graduated from NUST electrical engineering, we decided let's consider civil services exams. And we picked up subjects which had nothing to do with engineering, completely different subjects, only because we were curious, we were interested, what else was out there. We studied constitutional law, British history, journalism, and started, really making an effort for that. So at the end, after some months, 8-9 mahine tayari karne ke baad, it was the exams के बाद वो सारी पूरी process, और I think जो सारे आप लोग aspirants हैं, आप लोगों के जो candidates हैं CS के, they are more familiar with the process कि कितनी लंबी और at times cumbersome होती है, where you have to put on hold every other aspect of your life, and still you're never sure what comes out of it at the end of the day. Structure इस तरह हुआ है हमारा examination system और CSS का. So we went through that entire process. It was tiring, of course, but it was interesting as well. As during the process, I had always made up my mind that, you know, whatever the result may be, I will be in the process learning new things that I had not picked up during engineering, and maybe that would affect me personally as well. If after having done engineering subjects, if I'm studying, picking up something from social sciences as well, from other subjects, it would add some different dimensions to my personality. So with that thought in my mind, we went into the exams. Alhamdulillah, the result was that, you know, we succeeded. In my case, I barely succeeded. In fact, मेरा written में average marks थे. Interview में I got the highest marks in my batch. And even then, I landed in उस टाइम इनकम टैक्स होता था, इनलैंड रेवेन्यू सर्विस नई शुरू हुई थी, उसका नाम. So I landed in that, started my civil services academy in that, and only after I think a couple of weeks, at least 3 weeks, I got a call from nowhere that you know, one of the candidates from foreign service has not been able to join. So would you be interested in opting for it? And I think I said yes and never looked back. So that's it was always interesting. Coincidence काफी था. Fate be, and I think everything at the end of the day, it just fell in place.
Right, wonderful, sir. Sir, अब जब हमने आपकी जर्नी की थोड़ी सी बात कर ली है, तो हम आगे कन्वर्सेशन को लेके चलेंगे. हम बात करेंगे कि the fact that once you clear CSS, there are basically stages of training. In particular, I think two. So can you please tell us more about your training phase, specifically in the Foreign Service Group?
जी, absolutely. I think Civil Services Academy का जो एक primary phase था training, that was very interesting for me. I got the chance to interact with people from different groups, from various areas of Pakistan, from various backgrounds. So it was a lot of a good learning experience for me, this entire process. And especially for people who opt for foreign service, they always say that you know, these very few opportunities are the only one when you interact with your batch. Otherwise, most of your career, most of your life, you're always out abroad. Even you don't get to meet your batchmates from foreign service. So I mean, these small little moments, a few little moments, are very precious. So CSA was a very valuable experience in that sense. And I picked new things, made new friends. And in the second phase, the Foreign Service Academy, we went to Islamabad. It was like other services, it was a highly specialized training and very interesting. Again, former ambassadors, different academics, economists, policy experts, subject policy experts, they were hired by the Foreign Service Academy. वो lecture deliver करते थे, and काफी interesting experience इस वजह से था कि उन lectures में we picked up a lot of things. We were for the first time introduced to the Foreign Service. And we were always told, you know, that it's not just a service, it's a completely different lifestyle. And there were many stories, many anecdotes of former ambassadors sharing their experiences in different host countries, different protocol experiences, different visit-related experiences. So there was always something new that you could pick up during the Foreign Service Academy. From the practical side as well, from the academic side as well, there were field visits. And since then, I mean, that was back in 2011 when this training happened. Since then, the Foreign Service Academy has, I think now from what I've heard, has made tremendous strides in the new batches that are now coming into Foreign Service of Pakistan. I think they have much more exposure now during the course of their training. So उस ट्रेनिंग में काफी ज्यादा डिफरेंट मॉड्यूल्स होते हैं, उसको थोड़ा सा ज्यादा मॉडर्नाइज करने की कोशिश की गई है. कंपोनेंट्स लाइक डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी, इकोनॉमिक डिप्लोमेसी, पब्लिक डिप्लोमेसी, साइंस डिप्लोमेसी, इस तरह के मॉड्यूल्स इंट्रोड्यूस उसमें करवाने की कोशिश की गई है, ताकि एक डिप्लोमेट के टूल किट में जो जो मॉडर्न टूल्स अवेलेबल हो सकते हैं उनसे उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करवाया जा सके ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स ऑफ ट्रेनिंग. सो आई थिंक it's a very interesting phase of one's life, the training period. You're kind of a student, you're learning new things, you're open to new concepts, you get this valuable opportunity to ask questions to different former ambassadors, to people who have been in important positions, who have witnessed history from the front seat. So I think one learns a lot during that course of time.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. Sir, my next question to you would be that थोड़ा सा हम बात करेंगे कि हमारे जो domestic हमारा एक perception है foreign services के बारे में, उसी से related मैं ये पूछना चाहूँगा कि many people are also of the view that foreign services might only constitute of a glamorous life with protocol and a red passport. How would you in your personal capacity view this perspective? क्या ये सही बात है या there is a lot more to this?
I think stereotypes हर जगह होते हैं, of course, and foreign service is no different in that sense. There are stereotypes about every office, every department. And foreign service of Pakistan, it's not just foreign service of Pakistan, but बल्कि बाकी भी जो foreign दूसरी ममालिक की diplomatic services हैं, उनके बारे में भी इस तरह के stereotypes exist करते हैं. It always reminds me of that meme that used to make round, I think, some years back. जिसमें होता था कि what my mother thinks, what I do, what my friends think I do, what I actually do. उस तरह की डिप्लोमेट से रिलेटेड भी काफी मीम्स पर देयर पॉपुलर कि बाहर से मे बी बहुत ज्यादा काफी चीजें ग्लैमरस लगती हैं, and there are many good sides, of course, but चीजें I think one always learns when one is inside going through the process. Of course, the foreign service, being in the foreign service, being having that privilege to lead your country in foreign countries, it's a privilege. It is certainly a privilege. It is a big responsibility as well. So in that sense, definitely, I think it does further, lend credibility to that stereotype कि जी कितनी protocol है बाहर, कितना red passport की एक अपनी privilege है. So वो चीजें भी हैं, but I think mostly it's a responsibility that you feel once you are in there. If you're in that position, more than privilege, I think from people who I have interacted with in my service, my seniors, my juniors, once they are inside the service, the feeling of responsibility that overwhelms the feeling of privilege in that sense.
Definitely. सर जब हमने बात की थोड़ी सी ट्रेनिंग लाइफ की, अब हम थोड़ी सी बात करेंगे कि पोस्ट ट्रेनिंग फेज किस तरह होता है. तो आई वुड लाइक टू आस्क यू कि हाउ इज द इमीडिएट पोस्ट ट्रेनिंग फेज लाइक, एंड आल्सो इफ यू कुड identify and tell us more about the hierarchical structure of the FSP and the designations respectively.
So after completing your training from the Foreign Service Academy, you join the headquarters, and people, the new batch, they start with being assistant director, and they are placed in different desks. We have divisions in the Foreign Office based on territorial divisions. Some desks are dealing with different countries, different geographical regions. Some are divided based on themes like public diplomacy, strategic communication division. Some are serving in the higher offices, foreign secretary's office, foreign minister's office, spokesperson's office. So they try to, then place you based on your aptitude, based on your experience, assessment during the course of training. and assistant director से start होता है बंदा. They report to director. Earlier, पहले काफी साल पहले there used to be SOs, section officers होते थे. फिर terminology change हो गई foreign office में. तो headquarters में अब they are assistant directors, they are directors, deputy directors also in some places. Directors के बाद director generals, and then you have additional secretaries who are working with the foreign secretary in the leadership role, in the leadership positions. Missions में it depends of course. Missions में embassies में भी हमारी मुख्तलिफ size of missions हैं. You start from third secretary, second secretary, first secretary, then you have counselor and minister rank positions, and ambassadors as well. Some of our missions are very small. They are two-man missions from foreign office. They have 2 diplomats, including the ambassador. And in some places, you have much bigger missions where you have different designations. So start foreign service ka after training assistant director ke role se. That's a very interesting phase. Again, being an AD, being an assistant director, learning, grasping new stuff. And I think people then also expect you to really put in an effort at that moment in time, because once you enter the service, the reputation that you make, the results that you produce, they stay with you for a very long time. People remember that, and you build that kind of relation and network within your service and with other diplomats as well.
Wonderful. सर मेरा अगला सवाल जो है आपसे ये होगा कि जब एक हमने बात की है, ट्रेनिंग की भी बात कर ली, हमने पोस्ट ट्रेनिंग फेज की भी थोड़ी सी बात कर ली. अब हम बात करेंगे कि when does a foreign service officer gets his or her first posting abroad, and how often does one get different postings?
So normal practice ये रही है कि जब assistant director आप join करते हो, you get to spend at least a year and a half, or in some cases 2 years at the headquarters. और फिर language courses आपको दिए जाते हैं. You can opt for a language course जिसमें you are sent to different countries to learn that local language. You get enrolled as a student for a period of 10 months, year, and in very few places, even 2 years. So the government then invests in you to pick up new skills, to learn the new language. Us language course ke baad, sometimes people get placed in those countries, language specific countries, right after the language. In other cases, they come back, spend a few more months in the headquarters, and then go on to their first posting. First posting 3 साल की होती है, और उसके बाद again you are supposed to come back to the headquarters. उसके बाद जब आप अपने दूसरे cycle पे जाते हो, फिर throughout your career, mostly the pattern that is followed is 3 years in one country, 3 years in another. So 6 years total abroad, and then back at the headquarters for 2 years before you're moved out again. So in that sense, you get to spend at least 2/3 of your career abroad in various countries. Again, it's usual normal practice, but it also can differ based on circumstances, based on the requirement of the ministry, based on sometimes personal situation of someone as well, कि किसी की क्या priorities हैं, but normal practice ये रहती.
Right, sir. सर हमने थोड़ी सी पहले भी बात की थी about our cultural stereotypes. तो उसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मेरा अगला सवाल होगा कि there is a general perception vis-a-vis our cultural norms that a foreign service officer might be an ambassador of some sort in his or her first posting. तो मैं ये पूछना चाहूँगा कि what duties and responsibilities does a 17 grade officer has on his or her initial posting?
There's a phrase that we use whenever we are abroad, that every Pakistani, outside Pakistan is an ambassador of that country. And that is true in a way that, you get to carry that image of Pakistan, and people judge your country based on how you react. It is, of course, often more true in case of the diplomats who are serving abroad and working under the leadership of ambassador. Even if you are a 17 grade officer, even if you are third secretary, whether in a smaller mission or a big mission, there is a lot of things that you can do, a very important role that you get to play in different places. In my case, for example, my first posting, I did my language from Russia, Moscow, मैंने Russian की, then I came back. My first posting was in Vienna, Austria, where I got to work in the UN related matters, multilateral affairs, disarmament, security, nuclear related issues. Vienna mein there are different international organizations. So based on where you're working, there is always a different role that you are expected to play. In Vienna, it was a multilateral setting. Even though I was a junior most officer, as a third secretary, I was expected to build rapport, contacts with diplomats from all over the world who were representing their countries in the UN office in Vienna, and to promote our interests, to promote our objectives through engagement, and to at least secure our interest in various places, whether it was International Atomic Energy Agency, Nuclear Suppliers Group, or other places. So there's a lot you can do in even in that position. Even when you're grade 17, it's not just that, you know, when you are an ambassador only then you are asked to play an important role. So एक ये बड़ी important चीज है foreign service में, especially when you once you are abroad. There is a lot of space for you to take an initiative and to really carry the flag forward.
Right, wonderful. Sir, मेरे ख्याल से जो मेरा अगला question, that would be the most interesting for the participants who are watching this special session. मेरा अगला सवाल आपसे ये होगा कि what are the advantages of the Foreign Service of Pakistan, serving as an officer in the Foreign Service of Pakistan, और ये मैं in terms of perks, privileges and opportunities, और जो कि आपकी interactions होती हैं, that combined क्या advantages हैं along with the increment in your grade?
I think there are many advantages, of course. बाहर से भी लगते हैं, लेकिन once you are inside the service, आपको तब भी बहुत ज़्यादा पता चलता है. I think by far for me, the most important privilege, the benefits की अगर कोई list draw की जाए तो उसमें top most यही होगा, the exposure that you have, the people that you interact with during the course of your service. You're dealing with political work. If you're dealing with political work, you get to interact with foreign diplomats, leadership of other countries. If you are in places, interesting places where, you know, important events are happening, you get to witness the history from the front row. So you are privy to many important issues, sometimes national security related issues. Foreign service is often said that it is the first line of defense of the country. And so on that count, you are always, you know, aware of what the threats are, what kind of role that you play to minimize, to address your threats, what kind of relationships and interactions you build. There are important meetings that you get to sit in, and you are, you know, you're really witnessing firsthand what the actual situation is, where the obstacles may be, what kind of, you know, opportunities there may be. So I think exposure has to be one of the best, topmost advantage in this service. And you get to travel, of course. You get to live and observe culture of different places. उस लिहाज से learning बहुत ज़्यादा है. Perks and privileges, of course. I mean, as is true with any other service as well. Foreign service may be, especially when you're abroad, you get to have a comfortable living. And you are, I mean, you get to represent your country in a way that you're comfortable with. And उसमें भी आपके पास काफ़ी ज़्यादा flexibility होती है मुख्तलिफ जगहों पे. So there are many advantages in that sense, both on the perks and privileges side, also on the exposure side, learning wise, and of course, in तमाम का combined जो effect है, that really pushes people sometimes to opt for foreign service as one of the top, top three choices for many people.
Right, sir. Sir, मेरा अगला सवाल आपसे होगा कि as you've spent more than 10 years in the service now, आपके हिसाब से what might be the potential drawbacks or disadvantages of foreign service, and that too along with the increment in grade, क्या ऐसी चीजें हैं जो शायद बेहतर हो सकती हैं या फिर कुछ flaws अगर हो तो हमें बता सकें?
I think there are some challenges as well, and not just with the Foreign Service of Pakistan, but with, of course, any diplomatic service. The very fact that you get to move so frequently and sometimes to a very completely different place where you're living right now, you're asked then to move to a different, completely different place, and you are then expected, of course, to play another role, which is beneficial for your country. So in that way, the changes that happen during the course of your career, they are very significant. They significantly impact not only your lives, but the lives of your family members as well, your children. And it is at times harder on them than on you, because then of course you are in service, आप यहाँ पे हो, किसी दूसरी जगह गए हो, वहाँ पे भी you're working in the same service, but your family, the lives of your family, it gets uprooted very frequently. They're studying in one school, and next year, doesn't have to be a end of school year. You are just sometimes expected to make that hard transition very fast, and you have to hit the ground running. So in that way, of course, it's a big challenge, and sometimes it takes a toll on people. Sometimes it takes a toll in a much more significant way on some people because of their own personal circumstances and challenges that may have. So ये एक then again issues हैं, of course, with this lifestyle, with this career that one can choose, but then again ये challenges बाकी diplomatic services के लिए भी हैं. दूसरा challenge, I think I would say कि हमारी जो foreign service है, total strength foreign service की हमारी बहुत it's a very small service. We are total number of almost 490 and 500, around 500 people. Now that I consider a very small number, especially when you are expected to represent a country of 207 million people, a country which has significant influence, which at times punches above weight on various multilateral fora, a country which has interests in various places in the world, country which has threats. And if you call foreign service the first line of defense, of course, then you have to have some sort of serious effort in strengthening the capacity building of the service as well. And so ये चंद एक challenges हैं specifically related to foreign service of Pakistan.
Right, sir. Sir, जैसे कि आपने पहले भी mention किया है कि you've represented Pakistan on various forums of global significance. तो इसी से related, my next question would be, क्या how is the feeling or how is the pressure for you, like for you, while representing Pakistan on these several stages of global importance?
I think it's hard to describe in words. Of course, it's a very proud feeling sitting behind the flag of your country in a very important meeting, in multilateral fora, where you get to raise the flag of your country, you get to speak on behalf of your country, where every word that you say, is going to be taken as the word coming from the official representative of a country. So you have to be very very certain, you have to be very prudent and wise about what kind of interventions you are making, what kind of image that you are carrying, because as I said earlier, it's a huge responsibility in bilateral settings as well, in various countries, when you are representing your country, when you are meeting people from the public sphere, in media, when you're appearing in media, trying to explain your official position, pushing your narrative out there, and making sure that it gets to reach to as many people as it can. It's certainly a very proud feeling to be doing that. It of course it comes again, as I say, it comes with a big responsibility.
Right, definitely sir. सर हम बात करेंगे अब थोड़े से दोबारा से बेसिक एक पैटर्न पे आएंगे. हम ये कहेंगे हम मेरा अगला सवाल आपसे ये होगा कि फॉर द जनरल पॉपुलेस लिविंग इन पाकिस्तान, how would you personally explain the feeling of being a Pakistani diplomat abroad, and what responsibilities and protocols does one carry along?
आई थिंक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट होता है पाकिस्तानी डिप्लोमेट का रोल बाहर. एक तो ऑफ कोर्स जितना मर्जी प्रोटोकॉल हो उस पोजीशन के साथ, जितना मर्जी आप लीडरशिप के साथ इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हो, एट द सेम टाइम यू आर आल्सो सर्विंग योर कम्युनिटी अब्रॉड एज वेल. जो आपकी कम्युनिटी है बाहर, अगेन यू आर द ओनली ऑफिशियल चैनल for the community. So you are their gateway to your country as well. They have no one but you to approach on various issues. So I think it ranges. आपका जो रोल है वो बड़ा diverse होता है. At the same time, protocol और बहुत सारी चीजें भी important होती हैं जब आप you are sitting in a dinner across various diplomats in a luncheon which involves leadership, जहाँ पे कोई लीडरशिप लेवल इंटरेक्शन हो रहा है, सर्टेन प्रोटोकॉल फॉलो होने होते हैं. एट द सेम टाइम यू हैव टू बी वेरी accessible to your own people who are living abroad, who may have very important और challenges, कोई उन्हें problems पेश आ रही हो पिछले पाकिस्तान में किसी चीज के सिलसिले में, कोई किसी और डिपार्टमेंट से कोई शिकायत हो, आपको वो वाली फीलिंग भी कि यू हैव टू बी एक्सेसिबल टू योर कम्युनिटी एज वेल. सो आपका रोल डिपेंड करता है कि आपके पास फाइल कौन सी है, पोर्टफोलियो कौन सा है. एक डिप्लोमेट को बहुत सी रोल्स में चेंज होना पड़ता है थ्रू आउट योर करियर. एम्बेसडर के पास सारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है सिंस ही इज लुकिंग ओवर is supervising his entire team. Then in your team you have people who are playing different kinds of role, people who are dealing with consular issues, very important. Again, that is that really defines the image that you carry for Pakistanis who are living abroad. अगर आप पाकिस्तानीज के लिए आप एक्सेसिबल हैं, अगर आप उनकी शिकायतें सुन रहे हैं, अगर आप उनको हल तलाश करने में मदद कर रहे हैं उनकी, तो वो आपसे खुश होंगे. वो जो इमेज आपका होगा उनके यहाँ, वो एक अच्छा इमेज होगा. इसी तरह फिर आपका जो डिप्लोमेट्स के साथ है एक रोल, वो एक डिफरेंट है बाकी फॉरेन डिप्लोमेट्स के साथ. होस्ट कंट्री के साथ डिफरेंट है. यूएन में एक रोल कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट हो जाता है जहाँ पे आपने मल्टीलैटरल डॉक्यूमेंट्स नेगोशिएट करने हैं. टाइम्स यू हैव टू टेक अ वेरी हार्ड पोजीशन on certain issues that are very critical to your national interest. So it varies from place to place.
Right. सर मेरा अगला सवाल आपसे ये होगा कि बहुत सारे लोग ये सोचते भी होंगे who are working in the multinational corporations and in the private sector as well, और दूसरे जो अपना बिजनेसेस भी चला रहे हैं, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स भी होते हैं, यंग लोग हम देख रहे हैं कि स्टार्टअप्स भी कर रहे हैं, बट बैक ऑफ द माइंड उनका होता है कि यार सीएसएस करना है या मुझे शिफ्ट करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए. तो मेरा यही सवाल होगा आपसे कि हाउ इज सिविल सर्विसेज and especially your portfolio, which is the Foreign Service of Pakistan, compared to a job in an MNC or a corporate or private sector?
It's a very difficult question to answer because everyone has a different frame of reference. And I mean, I would be the last person to say, one field is better than the other. At the end of the day, you should be following where your aptitude is. You should be following the route where your interests lie. कई लोग ऐसे हैं, कुछ ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने सिविल सर्विस ज्वाइन भी की, दे वर नॉट हैप्पी, छोड़ी, उसके बाद प्राइवेट सेक्टर में चले गए, एमएनसीज वाली साइड पे चले गए. they felt more content there, they were more satisfied. काफी ऐसे हैं जो MNCs छोड़ कर आए और CSS के एग्जाम दिया और उसके बाद सिविल सर्विसेज में खुश हैं. So it depends on your aptitude. In my case, I was an engineer by education, but I always realized कि जो वो line of work in engineering, although I mean there were numerous opportunities and many of my good friends really they're very successful in their respective fields right now. I felt the nature of work uh, was not very did not seem very interesting to me. For me, the nature of work, how I spent most of my day at workplace, what kind of subject that I'm dealing with, what kind of difference that I'm able to make, um, all those little factors were very important. And so again, service में भी फिर it differs. हर सर्विस के अपने फवाइद हैं, हर सर्विस के अपने challenges हैं, हर किसी की अपनी प्रायोरिटीज हो सकती है. आई वुड ओनली एडवाइज CSS aspirants के try to take as much information as they can, especially from platforms like yours, जहाँ पे आप लोग engage करते हैं मुख्तलिफ CSPs को, to know more about the service, their challenges, their advantages, and then make a decision based on their own calculus, their own calculations, कि उनको क्या चीज ज्यादा सूट करेगी. आई डोंट थिंक देयर इज वन राइट आंसर और वन रॉन्ग आंसर टू दैट क्वेश्चन.
बिल्कुल. सर, मेरा आज का आखिरी सवाल आपसे होगा कि एनी मैसेज फॉर द ऑडियंस, many of whom aspire to be like you, आप कुछ सजेशंस देना चाहें या उनको बताना चाहें कि अच्छा जी ये इस माइंडसेट से आपको सर्विस के अंदर आना चाहिए. ऑल्सो मैं ये पूछना चाहूंगा इसी के साथ साथ कि व्हाट डज फॉरेन सर्विसेज ऑफर एज अ होल, कि कोई आम पाकिस्तानी लड़का या लड़की शुड एटलीस्ट पॉन्डर अपॉन जॉइनिंग द सर्विस.
जी, आई थिंक आपके जो व्यूअर्स हैं और स्पेशली दोज हु आर कंसिडरिंग, हु आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर CSS, हु आर थिंकिंग अबाउट अपीयरिंग इन CSS, आई वुड से कि बिल्कुल तैयारी ये करें अपनी CSS की, गिव योर बेस्ट शॉट. And but I mean, you should always be ready for any outcome that's out there. This should not be the end of the road. काफी लोगों के लिए होता है कि CSS कर लिया नहीं कर लिया, that is the end of their journey. इस तरह का mindset होता है. I would say कि keep your options open. In any case, whether you are service, if you are able to clear CSS, of course, that means you've put in all the hard work. You really did all the right things. Even if you are unable to clear the CSS, unable to clear the exams, doesn't mean that you were not smart enough to get through. I've seen people who have been smarter and much more intelligent, who would have been an excellent fit in the Foreign Service of Pakistan or in any other service. They're trying and not being able to get through the system. But I mean, now they're doing so well in their own respective careers in different fields. Some people going after their own, setting up their own startups. I think the opportunities are immense. One should always be ready to pursue one's interests, one aptitude. कि aptitude क्या है, interest कहाँ है. सिर्फ CSS के एग्जाम के रिजल्ट के बाद वो चीज आई थिंक शुरू होनी चाहिए, खत्म नहीं होनी चाहिए आपकी जो लाइफ जर्नी है. तो दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट आई वुड से. जहाँ तक फॉरेन सर्विस की ताल्लुक है कि कोई भी अगर पाकिस्तानी ज्वाइन करना चाहता है, ऑफ कोर्स हमारी जो फॉरेन सर्विस है, it really thrives on this pool of people who are able to clear from various backgrounds, from diverse places, people from belonging to various regions of Pakistan, people with different academic qualifications, people with different work experiences. There's some doctors in foreign service, engineers, social sciences wale log, हर किस्म के लोग, and everybody brings a different perspective. So the जितना rich pool होगा, जितना diverse pool होगा, उतना हमारी service benefit करती है. And in the times to come, diplomacy का role even after the pandemic I think increase होगा decrease नहीं होगा. So वो बहुत important चीज है कि आप मतलब the service would benefit if we have many aspirants who apply, who try to join Foreign Service. And in the times to come, I see the role of Foreign Service of Pakistan expanding in different spheres where you will have more space to play your role, whether it is in digital diplomacy, in public diplomacy, in new and emerging technologies, in securing economic deals for your country, in playing a role to enhance connectivity with other regions, political conflicts में mediation का role, बहुत सी opportunities होंगी for diplomats to really shine in their respective careers. So it's I would definitely, of course, recommend and suggest that people who have interest, they should definitely pursue it in this field.
Wonderful. Sir, thank you so much for this amazing overview of the Foreign Service and summing life after CSS in such a short time frame. आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपने participate किया. And before winding up this session, मैं अपने viewers को सिर्फ ये बताना चाहूँगा कि CEPI का जो CSS session है, it's starting from the 1st of June. And for this CSS session, हमारी खसूसियत ये है कि we are introducing innovative methodologies. इसके अलावा we are offering unlimited service and we are offering unlimited consultation. हमारी जो consultation help counselors हैं वो सारे 24/7 available हैं. और any queries, any doubts, कोई आपको subject selection से related कोई आपने सवाल जवाब करने के आपको नहीं समझ आ रहा तो आप बिल्कुल हमें contact कर सकते हैं. उसके अलावा हमारे CSS session में ये होगा कि we'll provide you with articulate notes, with stats and facts, and all sorts of things that a CSS aspirant needs to crack the CSS exam. इसके अलावा मैं बताता चलूं कि CEPI का जो हमारा bi-weekly bulletin है, which is an amalgamation of different foreign articles and local national newspaper articles, वो ज़रूर आप देखिएगा, वो हमारे पेज पे फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मौजूद है. और इसी के साथ साथ मैं ये बताता चलूं कि हमारा PMS और CSS का जो मॉक्स का सेशन है, मॉक टेस्ट्स का, इन द मोस्ट अफोर्डेबल रेट्स, वो भी अवेलेबल है. तो यू गाइस कैन श्योरली चेक दैट आउट एंड आप लोग उससे फ़ायदा उठा सकते हैं क्योंकि नथिंग कैन बीट रिगरस टेस्टिंग एंड असेसमेंट. तो इसी के साथ साथ ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ CEPI पाकिस्तान, दिस इज शहरियार अली खान signing off. Thank you very much, Sir Sham, for the participation once again.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. And this is it for today, guys. अपना ख्याल रखें. Have a great day. Allah Hafiz.